A man from Ecuador has changed his gender in order to gain custody of the kids. A cisgender man. What do you mean cisgender man, Vice? He's not cisgender. He transitioned. Vice, you are spreading harm. You are misgendering. See? I know the terminology. When I learned English in school, the term misgendering didn't exist, but I am such a forward-thinking person that I have educated myself. Why can't you do the same, Vice? If a man transitions his gender from male to female, he's a transgender person according to any ideological book that I have read from the academia. Vice, be better. So apparently this man lives in Ecuador, and according to the Ecuadorian laws, in the case of a divorce, they favor the mother with the ability to maintain custody of the children. So this man realized that in this situation, he needs to identify as a woman because he is seeking to become a mother so that he can also give the love and protection of a mother to his daughters, which he claims he hasn't seen in 5 months, and they are being abused by his previous spouse. And because the Ecuadorian law allows people to change their gender, well, he changed his gender. It's different than sex, okay? Like gender is a social construct which society identifies various people. And because we live in more forward-thinking times, this man has indeed decided to take benefit from the new meta. He does not make the rules, okay? But there's new patch notes. There's a different way you can play the game. And just like that, you can become one of the most protected classes of people in society. So he is playing the correct meta. This is how you need to play. And he's not the only one. There is another gentleman, I believe it was in Austria. He changed his gender in order to benefit from an earlier retirement because women were allowed to retire a couple of years earlier than men. There is another individual that I know who was working at a British company, and one day, his name is Lucian. Now, one day, his boss at a party, which was drunk, told him that the only reason he got hired was due to the fact that the boss misread his name. And instead of Lucian, he read Lucia, and he thought that he is hiring a woman. And my friend was very upset about that. He felt discriminated, and he would prefer to sue. But again, who cares about a cisgender straight white man's discrimination? So, in his infinite wisdom, he decided to transition legally. Like on his paper, it now says Lucian woman. Apparently, it increases his employment benefits. If people now misgender or would say something like that to her again, it would be a problem. So now they get protection. This is the new meta. This is how the game is supposed to be played. In Germany, for example, I don't know if the current party managed to go through with its campaign promises, but they promised two very important things. Number one, they promised a type of welfare that would go to families who are part of the LGBTQ umbrella, right? So if you're part of that, you get benefits from the state. The second campaign promise was that everyone is going to be able to change their gender legally very easily. You just go to the city hall, you say you identify as a woman, and therefore bada bim bada boom. And I was thinking, well, if I lived in Germany, of course I would change my gender automatically without question, without doubt, because then you get to benefit from the LGBTQ umbrella, right? I mean, look, the law is there for you to take advantage of it. If the state wants to give you a handout, you need to be mentally deficient not to take it. And apparently there is also a trend, according to the media, of transmaxing. Apparently incels, people who do not manage to win at the dating game, have created a subculture where young men embrace trans identities not because they believe they were born in the wrong body, but simply because they can. and because they believe it can make their lives better. So, again, this is the new meta. This is how the game is played. We do not make the rules. We did not ask for the, but these are the rules, right? It's like playing Dota based on the old meta and complaining that you're losing. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? You need to adapt. Now, of course, there are some bigots claiming to be LGBTQ activists, according to Vice, who are going against the decision of this man who did absolutely nothing illegal. He is just following the law. And they're saying that, well, he has done this legally, but it's not in the spirit of the law. It's not in the spirit of the law. Well, maybe you should have campaigned for better legislation. I remember when this was passed initially. And people like myself were saying that with time, there are going to be certain individuals who may be dishonest actors that are going to use this law for their own nefarious benefits. And I was assured at the time by various blue check marks, people in the prestigious Bretu community, that this is nonsense, what I am saying. That what I am saying is just completely ridiculous, like no one would ever. Well, it seems that some people would ever, given by the news articles that I am reading. Now, if I were to make a law that would allow for, the legal changing of gender, I would have required additional proof, like maybe a doctor's evaluation, like maybe a proof that the person is genuinely trying to change their lifestyle, assuming that you actually want less individuals like this guy. If you want to create a world where individuals like this exist, I mean, sure, we can reach the future where 100% of people identify as women. And then we eliminate sexism from society. Then we eliminate the gender pay gap. Then we fix all of the problems that come with bathrooms and whatnot, right? I mean, you can... the thing is, right? A lot of people are still backward thinking. A lot of people, they still think that it's shameful or, like if you're a cisgender man to change the letter on your ID card. But as society advances and we're exposed to more influences from Netflix, Disney, more progressive companies, people start realizing, okay, well, maybe there isn't any shame. And maybe it's just like a letter and we can change it. And then more and more people are going to, as I mentioned before, abolish the gender pay gap. In fact, you may not even have trans people anymore because everyone is going to be the same gender. Like, you abolish gender. If there's no gender, how can you transition from one to another? Like, everyone is the same, right? So you will fix the problem. I support this. I fully encourage this. So, it's interesting. The mother of the children from this lady, I need to be careful. I don't want to misgender. They were upset about this. They couldn't believe it when she found out that she was actually a lesbian, right? Like, she was married to a woman. And couldn't believe that this person did it and said, well, it's not in the spirit of the law. And now it's up to a judge to decide. It's going to be interesting what type of judge is going to make the decision because legally speaking, if you decide, I do not believe that this person is legit, well, you open a very interesting can of worms then. Because the question is, like, how do you differentiate between a person that is legitimately trans versus a person that just wants to take advantage? Or maybe a person that's not even trans, but it's ideologically motivated, that they want to be non-binary. Like, they don't say that they got born in the wrong body, but they say that gender is a social construct and they can construct something else. Like, they want to live based on a different identity. They want to be non-binary. How do you deal with those people then? I mean, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? So if you're going to use this legal argument that, well, he's faking it, good luck with that. But again, like the LGBTQ activists from Ecuador do not seem to understand what they're opening the door to. Because a lot of these activists, they only think in the moment. But they do not think like, okay, but like what about 5 years from now? It's going to be interesting. I will follow this case closely. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.